The first photo I posted after my daughter's open-heart surgery showed her asleep in a hospital bed. Her chest was covered with bandages. Tubes ran from her tiny body. One of her hands was wrapped around my finger. Then my phone buzzed. It was my mother. I expected her to ask, "Is she okay?" Instead, she texted, "Stop making her our problem." I read those 6 words again and again. Then I looked at my daughter. And for the first time in my life, I realized my mother didn't see her as family. She saw her as a burden. But what happened after that text exposed a secret my mother had hidden for years, and destroyed the one thing she cared about more than her reputation. My name is Daniel. I'm 34 years old, and until 2 years ago, I believed my mother, Linda, was the strongest person I knew. She raised me alone after my father left. At least, that was the story she always told. She worked long hours at a small insurance office. She paid my bills when I was in college. She showed up at my graduation with flowers and cried louder than anyone. People loved her. My friends called her Mom. She volunteered at church. She organized food drives. She posted inspirational quotes every morning. And whenever someone praised her, she would smile and say, "I just believe family comes first." I believed her. Then I had my daughter, Ellie. Ellie was born with a serious heart defect. The doctors discovered it during my wife Rachel's pregnancy. They explained that Ellie would need surgery before her 2nd birthday. Rachel and I were terrified. But my mother hugged us in the hospital parking lot and said, "We're going to get through this together." I held on to those words. For nearly 2 years, she attended appointments. She bought Ellie little dresses. She told everyone at church that her granddaughter was a fighter. But as Ellie's surgery got closer, something changed. My mother stopped asking about her appointments. She complained whenever I mentioned the hospital. And whenever I asked if she could help, she had a reason why she couldn't. "I'm exhausted. I already have plans. You know, hospitals make me uncomfortable." I understood. Or at least, I tried to. Then Ellie's condition got worse. One night, her lips turned pale blue. Rachel screamed for me from the nursery. I ran in and found Ellie struggling to breathe. We rushed her to the emergency room. The doctors told us the surgery could no longer wait. It had to happen within days. I called my mother from the hospital hallway. My hands were shaking. "Mom," I said, "they're moving the surgery up." There was silence. Then she sighed. "Daniel, I'm sorry, but I can't deal with this right now." I thought I had heard her wrong. "What?" "I have a lot going on." "Mom, your granddaughter might not survive this." "You're being dramatic." Those words hit me harder than I expected. Rachel was sitting behind me, crying quietly. I lowered my voice. "We need you." My mother paused. Then she said, "You and Rachel chose to have a child. You can't expect everyone else to carry the weight." I ended the call. For the next 3 days, my mother didn't call back. Not once. The morning of the surgery, Ellie was placed on a small hospital bed. She was only 21 months old. She wore a tiny yellow hospital gown. She didn't understand what was happening. She just held her stuffed rabbit and looked at me. "Daddy," she whispered. That one word almost broke me. I kissed her forehead. "I'm right here, baby." The nurse gently took her from my arms. Then the doors closed. Rachel collapsed into a chair. For 6 hours, we waited. Every time a doctor walked toward us, my heart stopped. I kept checking my phone. Nothing from my mother. Not a call. Not a message. Nothing. Finally, the surgeon came out. His face was serious. I stood so quickly that my chair fell behind me. "How is she?" He took off his mask. "The surgery was successful." Rachel started crying. I covered my face. But then the doctor added, "The next 24 hours are critical." So we stayed. We watched every number on the monitor. We listened to every beep. And when Ellie finally opened her eyes, I took a photo. She looked exhausted. Her face was swollen. There were tubes everywhere. But she was alive. I posted the photo with one sentence. "Our little fighter made it through." Within minutes, people started sending prayers. Friends called. Old classmates offered help. Then my phone buzzed. It was my mother. For 1 second, I felt relieved. I thought maybe she had finally realized how cruel she had been. Then I opened the message. "Stop making her our problem." I stared at the screen. There was another message. "You keep posting these hospital pictures so people will feel sorry for you. It's embarrassing." My hands went cold. I typed, "She almost died." Her reply came immediately. "And she survived. Stop acting like the world owes you something." I looked through the hospital window. My daughter was lying there with a scar across her chest. And my mother was worried about being embarrassed. I wanted to scream. Instead, I took a screenshot. Then I turned off my phone. For the next week, my mother didn't visit. She didn't send flowers. She didn't ask about Ellie. But something strange happened. People from church started contacting me. They told me my mother had been asking them for money. She said Ellie's surgery had created huge bills. She told them Rachel and I were struggling. One woman sent her $500. Another gave her groceries. A man from the church donated money through an online fundraiser. But we never received any of it. At first, I thought there had been a misunderstanding. Then I checked the fundraiser. My mother had created it herself. She had used a photo of Ellie in the hospital. The same photo she had called embarrassing. The fundraiser said, "Please help my granddaughter survive. Our family is desperate." I felt sick. She had ignored Ellie. She had called her a problem. Then she used her suffering to collect money. I called my mother. She answered immediately. "Daniel. How is my sweet girl?" The fake concern in her voice made my stomach turn. "Why did you create a fundraiser?" Silence. "What fundraiser? Don't lie to me." She sighed. "I was trying to help." "Where is the money?" "I've been holding it." "Why?" "Because you're emotional. You don't understand how to manage things." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "That money was donated for Ellie." "I know." "Then send it to me." She became angry. "After everything I've done for you, this is how you speak to me? What have you done? I raised you. And now you're using my daughter's surgery to get money." Her voice changed. "You should be grateful. People only donated because I asked them." That was the moment something inside me changed. I said, "Send every dollar back. Today." Then I hung up. But the next morning, something happened that I never expected. My mother posted a message online. She claimed Rachel and I had abandoned her. She wrote that we were attacking her because she had tried to help. Hundreds of people saw it. Some believed her. They sent angry messages. One person called me selfish. Another said, "Your mother sacrificed everything for you. Shame on you." I felt humiliated. For years, my mother had built the image of a perfect parent. And now she was using that image against me. But she made one mistake. She forgot about the text. I posted the screenshot. I didn't add insults. I didn't write a long explanation. I only wrote. This was sent to me after my daughter survived open-heart surgery. The reaction was immediate. People began asking questions. Why had my mother called Ellie a problem? Why had she created a fundraiser? Where was the money? My mother called me 23 times. I didn't answer. Then she arrived at the hospital. She walked into Ellie's room carrying flowers. The nurse stopped her. Only immediate family is allowed. I'm her grandmother. I heard her voice and stepped into the hallway. She looked furious. You embarrassed me. I stared at her. You embarrassed yourself. You had no right to post that message. You had no right to send it. She lowered her voice. Take the post down. No. People are calling me a thief. Did you take the money? Her face changed. She looked away. That was my answer. But then she said something I wasn't prepared for. I needed it. For what? She hesitated. Then she whispered. Your father. My body went still. My father is gone. No, she said. He isn't. For 30 years, my mother had told me my father abandoned us. She said he disappeared and never cared about me. But now she was telling me he was alive. She explained that my father had returned years ago. He had been secretly meeting her. He had debts. She had been giving him money. The money from Ellie's fundraiser was supposed to help him. I felt like the hallway was moving beneath me. You used my daughter's surgery to pay the man who abandoned me? He made mistakes, she said. So did you. She reached for my hand. I was going to replace the money. With what? She had no answer. I walked back into Ellie's room. And for the first time I understood something painful. My mother didn't protect family. She protected the people she chose. And I was no longer one of them. Over the next few weeks, the church investigated the fundraiser. They discovered my mother had collected more than $12,000. She had spent most of it. The church demanded that she return every donation. She lost her volunteer position. People stopped trusting her. The woman everyone called selfless was suddenly being asked to explain herself. But the biggest twist came a month later. My father contacted me. He had seen the story online. He told me my mother had lied. He hadn't abandoned us. He had tried to stay. He showed me old letters. Letters he had sent when I was a child. My mother had hidden every one. She had told him I didn't want to see him. She had told me he didn't care. For 3 decades, she had kept us apart. And now she had used my daughter's suffering to help him. When I confronted her, she cried. I was afraid you would love him more than me. I looked at her. You destroyed my relationship with my father because you were afraid of losing me? I did everything for you. No, I said. You did everything to control me. She cried harder. But I didn't feel angry anymore. I felt tired. I told her. You can't be part of Ellie's life until you understand what you did. She begged. She promised to change. But promises meant nothing now. Months passed. Ellie recovered. Her scar slowly faded. She learned to run again. One afternoon, she climbed into my lap and touched the photo on my phone. It was the picture from the hospital. Daddy, she said, was I sick? Yes. Did I get better? I smiled. Yes, baby. You got better. Then she pointed at the person holding her hand. Who's that? That's me. She smiled. You stayed. Those 2 words brought tears to my eyes. Because she was right. I stayed. Rachel stayed. The nurses stayed. Friends stayed. People who barely knew us stayed. But my mother didn't. She chose pride. She chose lies. She chose money. And in the end, the reputation she spent her whole life building disappeared because of 6 words she thought I would be too afraid to show. Stop making her a problem. But Ellie was never the problem. The problem was that my mother believed love was something she could control. And when she lost control, she lost everything. Today, Ellie is healthy. She laughs loudly. She dances in the kitchen. And every night, before she sleeps, she touches the scar on her chest. Then she says, "My heart is strong." And I always tell her, "Yes, sweetheart. Your heart is stronger than anyone who ever failed you."